Hi everybody, this is Diana from SyS y Salado, and today we have a very traditional recipe that is usually made in Venezuela during the holidays, and that's how to make pan de jamón or ham bread, and it has ham, bacon, raisins, and green olives, and it's super delicious. As always, the link for this recipe can be found in the info box below and at sysalado.com. To activate the yeast, we're going to need warm milk that's between 100 and 110 degrees Fahrenheit or 37 to 40 degrees Celsius. To this, we're going to add our active dry yeast with a little bit of white sugar. We're going to mix it really well and let it sit for about 5 to 8 minutes for it to activate. Once we see this top layer of foam on top, we know that it's been activated. And then we're going to add 1 large egg. And we're also going to add melted butter. We're going to mix it really well, and then we're going to set it aside. In a large mixing bowl, we're going to add bread flour. You could also use all-purpose flour if that's all you have. We're also going to add white sugar and a little bit of salt. We're going to give it a mix. And to this, we're going to add our yeast and egg mixture. Using the dough hook from the mixer, we're going to mix this and knead it for about 10 minutes or until we get a very nice and smooth dough. If you don't have a mixer like this, you can mix everything in a large bowl and then knead on a flat surface for about 10 minutes or until you get a very nice texture, just like this. Now we're going to grease a large bowl with a little bit of oil, and this is just to prevent the dough from drying out. We're also going to shape our dough into a big ball, and what I'd like to do is just flatten it with my hands, and then I tuck in the ends towards the center to shape it. Then we're going to place it in the greased bowl. We're going to give it a few turns to make sure it's covered with the oil. We're going to cover it with plastic wrap and let it rise in a warm place for about an hour or an hour and a half or until it's doubled in size. Once it's doubled in size, we're going to take off the plastic wrap, and then with the help of our hands, we're going to deflate it very gently, take it out of the bowl, and then place it on a flat surface. Using a rolling pin, we're going to shape it into a rectangle that's about 1/4 inch in thickness. Working lengthwise, we're going to place our slices of ham on top of the dough. It could be any kind of ham that you want. And we're going to leave a border of about 1 inch at the bottom of the rectangle and about 1/2 inch on all the other borders. And we're also going to fill in the gaps with more ham. On top of the ham, we're going to place strips of bacon, and we're going to leave a space of about 3 inches in between. Then on top of the bacon and the ham, we're going to place raisins. We're going to make sure they're well distributed. And then finally, we're going to make 2 rows of green olives. We're going to place the first row close to the top border of the rectangle, and then the other row almost in the middle of the loaf. And this is to make sure that each slice of bread is going to end up with about 2 pieces of olive. To roll it, we're going to grab the top border of the dough and we're going to wrap it around the first row of olives, and we're going to keep rolling very gently. Once we get to the end, we're going to wet that bottom border with a little bit of warm water. And what we're going to do is just pinch that seam to make sure it's nice and sealed. And we're going to do the same thing with both ends of the loaf. We're going to place the loaf of bread on a baking sheet that's covered with parchment paper. And then we're going to loosely cover it with plastic wrap and let it rise in a warm place for about 45 minutes. after about 45 minutes, we're gonna take off the plastic wrap, and then we're gonna brush the top with egg wash. If you don't like egg, what you can do is use melted butter if you want. And with a fork, we're gonna pierce it on top to let all the steam out while it's baking. And we're gonna bake it at 350 degrees for about 40 to 45 minutes or until it's golden brown on top. Then we're gonna take it out of the oven and let it rest for about 10 to 15 minutes before we serve it. And that's your recipe for making a traditional Venezuelan pan de jamón or ham bread. If you enjoyed this video and this recipe, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel so you can be up to date with all the new videos that I upload in the future. Thanks everybody for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye, and buen provecho.